Now, a new report from the Community Security Trust, the body that looks after the safety and security of Jews in the UK, has revealed that 2015 saw the third highest annual total ever of anti-Semitic incidents recorded in the UK, 924 to be precise. Well, I'm joined now by the CST's Communications Director, Mark Gardner. Good evening, Mark.
Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. You?
Yes, well, thank you.
Well, Mark, having said that, I'm a bit alarmed because these figures obviously are alarming, although in truth there was actually a 22% fall from the 2014 figure of 1,179. What can we put that fall in the number down to?
Well, it's quite a mixed picture, Jeff. It is, as you said, the third worst year that we've recorded, but it's down by just over a fifth from 2014. Now, 2014 was exceptionally bad because that summer there was the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and southern Israel. And so really anti-Semitic incident figures went through the roof for a couple of months. To be honest, if we hadn't seen a fall this year, then we would have been really, really shocked. So there's been that fall. We're glad of that. But to be honest, I think we had hoped and perhaps even expected that the fall might have been a bit bigger than it actually was.
Well, yeah, because without those, if you take out those special circumstances, if you like, 2015 saw more attacks than any other year. If you take out 2014 and 2009, which were both characterised by conflicts in Israel and in Gaza, 2015 saw more attacks than any other year, and by some way.
Yeah, we tried to make it clear in the report that this may actually be largely due to better reporting, to more people coming forward and reporting what's happening to them. So it's not necessarily the case that there is more anti-Semitism out there. And I don't know how you and the listeners feel in Manchester. I'm down in London, and we've not had the sense during the year that the Jewish communities felt, especially under great pressure from anti-Semitic incidents. I mean, we saw obviously the terrorist attacks in France and in Copenhagen, and that was deeply upsetting, and it caused a great deal of concern. But in terms of people feeling like there's been a lot of anti-Semitic attacks, I'm not really getting that sense. We did a lot of research in January and February when we had quite a lot of incidents reported to us, and we were very confident that it wasn't actually because there was necessarily more anti-Semitism, but rather that more people were reporting to us and to the police who we share data with. So it's important to perhaps also see that side of things and to say, do you know what? If people are more willing to come forward, if people are less willing to take it lying down and want to tell somebody about it, then actually, in a perverse kind of way, that is a good thing. It's a good thing that people seem to be more inclined to tell ourselves or the police about what's going on.
Yes, I mean, I think that perhaps certainly one of the things that the report shows is that the number of violent incidents has increased, albeit only slightly. I mean, one of the violent incidents that is highlighted in the report is the attack at Balca Vale Station in North Manchester last September. Balca Vale, where one teenager suffered a fractured skull, and our regular listeners might remember that victim, Moshe First, and his father came on to Jewish Hour to talk about the experience. You've described it as an anti-Semitic incident in the report, yet the attack wasn't treated as a hate crime when the perpetrators were prosecuted, and the local MP, Ivan Lewis, wrote to the Crown Prosecution Service to ask them to reconsider. Now, I know that we can't discuss individual cases here, but are you sensing a frustration that incidents that the CST describe as anti-Semitic are perhaps not always being treated as such by the CPS?
Well, in the Balca Vale case, we went by the police categorisation, and it was the police who termed it a hate crime.
All right.
And they conducted a very thorough investigation, so we were content to go with their categorisation of it. Unfortunately, what happens with the prosecution sometimes is, in order to prove that something is a racist attack, it takes quite a bit more proof than it does for the police to log something as having been racist. And I think that must have been the case here. But yeah, we are frustrated that more cases that we think ought to be prosecuted as having been anti-Semitic, as having been racist, they should be prosecuted for that. And that means that when, hopefully, people get convicted, that a stronger message is sent out.
Yeah. Now, the report talks a bit about anti-Semitism on social media. It's much easier now, in a way, to make anti-Semitic comments and get away with it because of social media. Do you think that the rise of social media has had an impact on the figures at all?
It has done, but I think we're now past the stage where it's making a year-on-year difference.
Right.
We saw the difference come in about 2 years ago. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff on social media, a couple of hundred things, I think it was. And at that time, you could say, "Wow, here's something new. Here's a new way of transmitting hatred." And also, it's kind of, oddly enough, it's relatively straightforward for a victim to just press click forward and send it on to CST or to the police. So the reporting of it is quite straightforward also. But I don't think you could really say that this year compared to last year, social media was a bigger deal. I don't think so. I think we've been in that state now with social media for 2 or 3 years, and it is in a sense now, I don't want to call it our new normality, but it is how things are.
Part of our social fabric, yeah.
Yep.
Well, Mark Gardner, Communications Director of the CST, it's a heavy subject and not always a pleasant one to discuss, but thank you again for talking to us about it. You always put it in such clear context. Just turning to a lighter subject for a minute.
Sure.
The last time you spoke to us on Jewish Hour, you emailed me afterwards and made some joking remark about the fact that we played Neil Sedaka before we spoke to you. How was Elkie Brooks for you tonight?
Elkie was beautiful.
Oh, marvellous. She's a Manchester girl, you know, so we like to...
I said the right thing.
Yes, absolutely,
excellent.
yeah. Elkie Bookbinder was her maiden name.
Superb.
All right, well, Mark, thanks very much for speaking to us on Jewish Hour.
Thanks, Jeff.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.